Welcome back, listeners, to the BizBlend podcast, where real business meets real life. I'm your host Sana, as always, and today's guest, listeners, is someone who didn't just climb the ladder; she built the damn thing. Let's first meet my guest, Gina Cano. She's a tech executive, first-gen college graduate, keynote speaker, and the powerhouse behind Unapologetically You. Raised in a small Texas town with no industry role models, Gina went from answering support tickets to shaping corporate strategy at the executive level. And today, in this episode of BizBlend, we are going to talk about building without a blueprint. How Gina found her voice, how she protected her mental health, embraced her cultural identity, and became the kind of leader she never saw growing up. So, if you ever felt like you didn't belong in the room, pull up a chair because this one's for you. So, with that, Sheena, welcome to the show, and I'm really, really excited and honored to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited, I'm honored, and I'm thrilled to be able to share my journey and what I've gone through in hopes that it inspires even if just one person, then Sana, we've done our job, right? So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind and beautiful words, Gina. And, when I was reading through the intro, this one particular line that kind of, uh, just sparked something within me is if you have ever felt like you didn't belong in the room. This has happened with me so many times. I've seen it happening with people so many times. And it's such a sunken feeling, within you that maybe I don't belong here. Maybe this is not for me. And it kind of derails your ambitions or motivations to a huge extent. However, we somehow just, pull up and you just go with the flow sometimes. And that's what I believe could be the foundation for building without a blueprint. I'm not sure if I'm right, but I just want to know, Gina, you had no role models or mentors. So what exactly made you believe that you could lead in tech without them?
That's a great question, and you're spot on. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on where the blueprint or where that comes from, right? So, coming from the small town of Beeville, Texas, population's like 13,000. In some places, that's a neighborhood or a community, right? So this is my whole town, and technology wasn't then, and still really isn't a driving force or career path of what people aspire to.
Mhm.
But when there was a situation that happened to me that really shaped a lot of it. Well, 2 situations, I'll say. Number 1, my dad's a general contractor, right? He's had his own construction business, for as long as I can remember my entire life. And so blueprints are a big part of what I've seen. I saw that growing up, right, on his desk as he's thinking, he's looking, he's laying out the plan and stuff. But my father, like myself, didn't necessarily have a blueprint of how to build his business, how to go be successful. He just had to go learn on the way, right? So I saw that, and that was a big piece of who I am and what I thought of. The other thing that really made me say, "Well, I can do this," is because I've been told I can't, for many, many parts of my entire career and my life, starting off when I was in high school. And I went into the counselor's office looking for guidance and saying, "Hey, I'm the first one to come to high school. I've made it. I wanna make sure I'm successful. I wanna go to college." In that moment, I'm told, "Why? You're not going to college." Sana, it just, like, took the life out of me, right? I'm 13 years old. I'm sitting in front of this counselor who's supposed to be my guiding light, my mentor, my person to help me build a blueprint, build the plan, telling me I wasn't going to. So, yeah, those 2 parts really shaped a big part of why and who I am. One, seeing my father navigate without having a clear plan from others, but building it along the way and building along, his, journey, his lessons, his failures, his successes, everything in there that influenced me. while I may not have had mentors and folks that were in the technology, in the corporate space, I very much had my father as a guiding light of, hey, this is what a good looks like. This is how you do it. This is what you succeed. This is how you fail. This is how you get back up. And then always having that nagging counselor in the background telling me I wasn't gonna succeed. Oh, Sana, that was everything I needed to say, "Well, watch me. Watch me succeed." "Oh, you wanna bet? I'll show you what it's like to succeed." So that was a part of what it was, right? But then as I'm going through there as a first generation Latina in tech, right? I had to look back and say, "You know what? My background isn't gonna disqualify me from any of this. It's actually the resilience and my perspective and the power that's gonna help me guide through it." So I had to instill that mindset of saying, "Look, just because someone said I don't belong or someone said I'm not successful, that doesn't mean I have to listen to it." So that's was a big piece of me moving forward to build my blueprint of, well, what does success look like? And I can tell you, Sana, success is different for every single person.
Yeah,
Every single person.
that's true. That's true. I couldn't agree with you more because um conventionally it has been kind of, a template has been created for us that at different phases in our lives we have to kind of, tick the checkbox in there that okay,
Yep.
this is done. That means yes, I'm successful. But how come we still feel that void within us? Why do we feel that this is not something I wanted to do? If anyone just
Yep.
asks me what exactly you want to do, what's something that you love, or what's your purpose, then I don't have any answers. So I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah. You know, it's as you sit there and you make the comment of oftentimes many of us, myself included, where I felt like, well, am I good enough? Do I belong? Am I successful? Because we've listened to what someone else defined what success looks like. That you have to have a certain level of education, that you have to have a certain kind of vehicle, or you have to have a certain job title, et cetera, fill in the blank of what but this is what someone else defined as success. Now that I've grown older and I've gone through this, for me, success is did I get up this morning and was I able to take a deep breath? Then I'm already winning. I'm ahead. Is my son healthy? Is my son happy? Is my husband happy? Are we good as a family unit? Right? Did we have food to eat today? Right? Did we have, the ability to go on a walk? Those things, Sana, is what success looks like to me now. But it didn't happen overnight. It's been years of me recognizing, again, not having a blueprint of knowing how to navigate through this and me building on my own. If I could go talk to my younger self and tell myself success isn't what someone else has defined, right? Success isn't me being forced to fit into a box of preconceived, notions of you have to look, act, and believe certain ways in order to be successful. No, success is defined on my terms. My blueprint is gonna be built the way I want it to look, not the way someone else said.
That's a powerful statement, Gina. Really, really. It's empowering. I think that's the best word I can say on it.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Um, and do you have any specific situation or event in your mind, where I mean, uh, if you can just generally, just brush up over the details. It's not mandatory that you have to share with details, but any surprising, event where um you had no idea what to do. You just, took a risk, jumped onto it, and while doing it, you found a solution or something like a way out. It's like having that first breath of air when we are drowning. Mm. Yeah.
Hey, that's been my whole life, Sana. It's like I always seem to get myself into pickles of some sort, but somehow I figure out how to get out of there. I think one of my most memorable ones, and I actually mentioned this in my book, by the way, that I recently published, and I'm so excited to say I'm officially a published author, Sana. How exciting is that, right? Again, no blueprint, figured it out along the way. And if you would have told me when I was, a young girl growing up in Beeville that I'd be, a published author, I would be like, What are you talking about? I don't even like to read books." And now here I am with a book, right? But in there, I talk about, uh, you know, again, different situations. So after I went and opened a call center, I was mentioning to you earlier that I got to go to India, beautiful country, beautiful people. I opened a call center there and great. I had a wonderful experience. I spent, 8 weeks there and I learned so much. And so when I come back from this great life-changing, mind-blowing opportunity, right, of talk about knowledge that I gained, I come back and then shortly after, I get laid off from the company I was with, the tech company, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I wasn't prepared for that." I'm young, I'm 20 something years old, I have no idea what to do, and so I just kind of start fumbling around, and so a friend of mine, he said, "Hey, Gina, you wanna open a cell phone store with me?" "Yeah, sure, what the heck, let's do it." I don't know the first thing about it, I have 0 clue about what it is to open a cell phone store. But I like to try new things, I'm willing to take a risk, and so I used all of my money that I had, and it wasn't a lot, by the way, because 'cause I'm 20 something, I have no idea what budgeting is, and was spending well beyond my means, so I
Mhm.
started getting myself in debt, Sana, a lot of debt. My unemployment money started to run out, was living heavily on credit cards, I was I was drowning, I'm trying to open this cell phone store, which is cell phone stores now that I know, you're not gonna see like any business. It takes several years before you really start to get that return on the initial investment. The beginning, you're under, and so I'm drowning in debt from the cell phone store. I'm drowning in debt because I have no more unemployment money because I senselessly spent it. I used all of my savings that I did have to open this cell phone store, so I'm drowning. Son, I barely have money to eat. I don't know where my next meal is gonna come from. Um, I would be smart sometimes and like, "Hey, if I go buy a dozen of eggs and a loaf of bread, at least I know I'm gonna eat 12 times," right? Because you're trying to figure out, like, "What do you do this?" And my entire time as I'm learning this, son, is I never once told my parents or anyone how much I was drowning, how much I was hurting. I always presented this image that everything's fine. Everything's gonna be okay. But I'm slowly drowning, I'm suffocating, I'm desperate. And there was a point where through all of this, another mutual friend's like, "Hey, there's an opportunity, there's a job fair for this other company. If you're interested, you should go." And I'm like, "What the heck do I have to lose? I'm broke, I'm in debt, I have nothing here. Let me use the little bit of money I do have to put gas to go do this job fair." Fast forward a few months later, I'm on my wits end. I've done the interviews, but I haven't heard back. I'm at a point, son, I'm like, I'm gonna have to tell my parents. I'm gonna have to move back home because I just can't do it anymore. I'm in debt way over I'm just horribly in debt and I'm miserable. I'm depressed. I just think this is just it's not gonna get any better. This is it. I failed. This is what I'm telling myself. And then I get the call that I didn't think was gonna come. I got the job offer, and I was wow. So, I'm excited. So, this is the part that I really, wanna tell your listeners that even in my lowest point, I knew my value and I knew my worth. So, they give me the offer, I'm in debt, I have no money. You would think I would jump on it and be like, "Yes," whatever they said. My response was, "Oh, wow. I was actually expecting a little more than that." Um, Again, I'm in debt, I have no money, I have no business negotiating, one would think, but this is a reminder, you always know your worth and where it comes from, so, while I wasn't able to negotiate a higher salary, I was able to get myself a relocation bonus. So, I was able to get myself a $10,000 relocation bonus when there was nothing on the table initially, but that shows if I wouldn't have asked, if I wouldn't have taken the chance, even though I'm drowning, even though I thought, "This is it, I can't do it anymore." I still had the courage to advocate for myself, got the bonus, and that's when I realized the power of speaking up, son. That was my aha moment of when I was able to gasp for air and say, "I can do this. This is possible." Even when you think you're drowning, even when you think it's over, but if you just believe and you stand true to who you are and what your worth is, that opportunity will come, right? Even if I would have had to relocate and go back home, I would have figured it out, right? Because I don't know how to fail. It's not in my DNA. I might struggle, I might fumble, but I don't fail, right? Because there's no such thing as failure in my book. It's just lessons that I'm learning. And so that was a huge moment for me, Sana, where I was like, wow, I did it. I was I believe it took me a while to get out of debt though. I didn't instantly get out of the debt I had got myself into, but this was my first stepping stone to starting this incredible 2-decade journey of the IT role that I've been in now and the experiences that I had. So that was a big one for me.
Wow. I mean, the most striking part is that, of course, there were your personal issues and your debt issues and everything. Uh, Along with that, coupled with that, tension, the dilemma within you about whether you should tell your parents or not. I think, and in such situations, traditionally anyone would think that, whatever comes in my way, I should take it because, you know, I
Yeah.
have nothing to lose. I've lost everything. So whatever is coming in front of me, I should take it. Or else, I won't have anything. But then also, you knew your worth. You knew your worth and you spoke up for yourself. So I think that's something that really needs a lot of courage.
It does. You just channeled it in there, and here's kind of what I live by, and I think the lesson I would give to all of your listeners here is, what's the worst that's gonna happen, right? Seriously. I don't let's say I didn't get the job, okay? Well, then I would've moved back home, and I would've gone down that path, right? Or I would've started from that point to wherever I'm at. So it's okay to ask. I mean, even if I would have asked for it and they would have not given me an increase in the salary or a relocation bonus, I at least asked the question. I at least advocated for myself. So again, what was the worst that was going to happen? They told me, no, this is the set salary. Fine, right? I at least it's there. But without asking, you're going to miss those opportunities. I don't know the exact quote, but I know that it's something along the lines is the only opportunities you miss are the ones that you don't take, right? Something like that, which is true. So no matter where I go, and I live by that till this day, son, and no matter where I go, no matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna ask. My husband gets a kick out of it whenever we go to a restaurant. I'll always ask for a free dessert. 9 times out of 10, Sana, I get a free dessert because I asked, right? You just ask, or I'll ask for a discount. But I ask because you're going to get a no to the questions you don't ask. And so that example of me advocating for myself and asking for, a higher base salary or at least some sort of compensation to relocate, I did. So, again, if I wouldn't have asked the question, I was still, they still had me come in. I'm still there, but at least I had a little bit of breathing room to help me get through this incredible amount of debt that I was dealing with to be able to get there.
Totally, totally. I think this will it personally for me also it gives me a big lesson, about not underestimating myself. It's not that, I'll be very selfish or always just focused on myself, but at least I know my worth, I know my value, and I can speak up for it. Not offending anyone, but at least I can speak up for it. Because many times in these kind of situations, the point where you would give up, that's the time when, you will get tested. Even if the universe is like completely working against you. I think at that time, it is that tenacity and that strength within us, but resilience within us that will help us navigate that.
You said a word that is very strong for me, and one of my we call them Gina isms. Some of my coworkers coined that phrase because I always come up with like quirky sayings or analogies and stuff like that. So they just started calling them Gina isms. But one of them that I hold true on is resilience. My resilience is my strength, but my culture, that is my superpower. And if I look back at the culture of where I come from, my roots in the family, that has been nothing but grit and determination and, going through and pushing through. So my culture is a huge part of that. So I hold on to that. It doesn't hold me back, right? It's the fuel for everything I do. and it allows me to continue to be resilient and go through it. So, like I said, it's never a failure for me. It's a lesson. Do I get bumps and bruises? Absolutely. Right? Just sometimes I get discouraged. You wouldn't be a human if you didn't. But when you take a step back and say, look, if I look at where I come from, the people before me, and everything that they've done to get me where I'm at today, well, they've been resilient, which means, again, it's in my DNA, son. I don't know how to fail. I only know how to move forward. And that has been a big piece of my success that's helped me build this blueprint when nothing existed that I could easily say, let me follow this path. I
Mm.
had to forge my own path and say, "Okay, well, let me try this. Nope, didn't work. We'll try another way. Okay, that one worked. Let me try repeating that." And that's how you build it. But it all starts with having the belief in who you are, the value you bring, the culture that you come from, and that remembering that you have the resilience to get you there.
Absolutely, totally, totally. And it's kind of, it also reflects that you have that clarity, you know what you are doing and you know what you are saying. Um, and it's one of the, most not desirable, the top leadership quality as well. So, thank you, Gina, for sharing that moment, because I think the moment, the story itself, it will answer so many questions in our listeners' minds. So, with that, before we wrap up, in the interest of time, do you ever feel, Gina, that pressure to be the perfect example of success for others watching you now, since you're coaching others to bring their full authentic selves? There are people who are looking up to you. So do you ever feel that pressure, that that weight of just trying to be the perfect example of success?
You know, I don't, because here's what I tell myself, and I'll tell you and all your listeners and anybody that I mentor or anyone that I talk to. There's no such thing as perfection. We're always looking for progress, not perfection. Right. And so I truly believe in being unapologetically, authentically myself. So I'm exactly that. So no matter where I'm at in my journey, I have no problem owning up, like, I made a mistake, or this wasn't right. I probably shouldn't have said this, or look what I'm doing. And what I found is that people connect with me because they recognize that I'm being authentically me, right? The good, the bad, and so I'm not putting up this image. The Gina you get, whether I'm at home or in the corporate space, or you see me walking in the street somewhere, that's Gina. You're always going to get this authentic version of who I am. So I don't have to have this image of perfection. I make mistakes. I say things incorrectly. I do things wrong. You name it, fill in the blank, right? But because of that, people now have an ability to connect with me and don't feel like they have to portray a certain image, or they have to do something, either that they don't have to be perfect, that we are perfectly imperfect, and that is okay. So I don't feel the pressure. I thrive on it, because the more I see people feeling comfortable to be open with me, that means that I'm letting them see myself be open to them.
Wow, that's a powerful one. Great. And do you have a they would like to connect with you on and also get access to your book? What would be the best way?
Best way, and I do hope that this message resonated with someone. They can go to my website, ginacano.com, and you can grab the book there. I'm going to be putting some more resources there. Another topic that maybe we can come talk about another time, Sana, is I'm also passionate about ensuring that technology is accessible to all. And so I'm working on building a series called Unapologetic Tech, where I will be breaking down AI into terms that everybody speaks and not just the techie speak, if you will. So, but go to ginacano.com, and there's a link there where you can grab the book. It's available on my publisher site. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and there's a few other locations where you can get it. So I would love to get reviews and feedback. And if anyone's interested in booking me for a keynote or additional conversations, you can also contact me there.
Wonderful, Gina. I'll make sure to mention all the links in the show notes for our listeners. And thank you so much because what believe is that your journey, it reminds us that leadership, it isn't about fitting in. It's about standing up for our values, our health, and our roots. So
Right.
thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. And my message to everyone, let's just continue to rise together.
Totally, absolutely. And to all the beautiful listeners out there, if today's episode shook something within you, whether it's the courage to pivot, the need to rest, the need to take care of your health, or the hunger to lead differently, don't let it end there. Share this episode with someone who needs it, and let's keep building from who we are, not who we were told to be. Until next time, this is BizBlend, where bold stories build better leaders. I'm your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.